Hey guys, good morning. It's Monday morning, which means it's the War Room. Now, it's already episode 18, which means that more or less I've been doing this thing for over 4 months. What the hell? Anyway, as we are going to be looking at this War Room and what's been happening this week and coming up this week, I'm going to be showing you a game that I played on the Operation Chromite map, which is one of the newer maps that have been introduced last week, which beautifully ties into what happened last week, which was of course the next map pack update. Now, if this map looks familiar to you, that's perfectly okay, because normally the map is oriented this way. More on everything on the new maps, the new balances, etc. in my other video. But let's talk a little bit about it anyway, because what I've been hearing a lot about is, especially in 10v10s, the NATO forces, especially US, especially if you have a naval map, they seem to be reigning absolutely supreme in the skies. They have complete air dominance with F-14 Tomcats. And so far I haven't really had the experience of any kind of air dominance yet, because I haven't been playing 10v10s. But let me know what your opinion on that is, because from what I've been hearing, this patch, with the Tomcat being made available in the air tab, is doing more harm than good for, let's say, both sides, because everybody wants to play Blue 4 and have their Tomcats, and everybody does not want to be Red 4 anymore, which means Red 4 is going to be stacked by lesser players or people who really like a challenge, which means that the game is pretty much pushing you towards Blue 4. At least that's the way that I'm reading it. Red 4, of course, did get some tank balances, and then there's the autocannon, let's say, noise buff or noise nerf, depending on how you want to look at that. What happened with the autocannons is that their noise has been increased by, I believe, 30%. I don't have patch notes here, but I believe 30%. That means that, whereas I thought it was actually only a cosmetic nerf, where the sound through your speakers is like 30% louder, it is actually turning out to be not so much a cosmetic nerf, but a nerf for autocannons, which are just seemingly unwarranted hiding in tree lines, firing their autocannons and staying concealed. Especially, let's say, the LEV-25 scouts that the US Army deploys, or that the US decks have. Those kind of units can stay inside a tree line and not be detected. Whereas if they make more noise, the game counts that as being less stealthy. Or at least that seems to be the reigning opinion. So that is one of the things that I probably completely misread, but I haven't really been able to see a lot of differences there. If you have, please let me know, because I'm interested to see exactly what you think of that. Anyway, what else has been going on last week? I did my Wargame European Escalation Evacuation mission. That was the legendary tale of the squad of, I believe, Sai, was it? The last Motostroki squad that's been killing off tank after tank and then had to make the run all the way across the field, going into oblivion, unfortunately, a little faster than I had expected. I'm going to be retrying that mission. I'm not sure when it's going to be up yet. Probably Thursday, maybe a few days before. We'll see about that. But I haven't been playing that much Wargame or that much European Escalation anyway, because XCOM 2 got me completely consumed. I'm recording a lot of episodes, and I'm going to switch to 2 episodes per day starting from now. I'm not sure if I can keep that up every day, because I also have my Wargame Red Dragon content to work with. But I have a lot more episodes than I have days, and by that I mean that I'm publishing, or that I'm producing these episodes a lot faster than I'm publishing them, and by now I think I'm a week ahead. So I can definitely start publishing multiple episodes per day, so that you guys can go through the campaign faster, and it will also allow me to start the next campaign a little sooner, which then can be used with all sorts of mods, because there are, I believe, last time I checked, about 800 mods in the Steam Workshop. So there's a lot to be checked out, a lot of interesting things to be adjusted, but I really don't want to do that mid-campaign, because I feel that it might break the campaign, it might break my save games, both of which are not good. I don't want to have that happen. So, going through the campaign a bit faster, I've completed my own first campaign, which was a veteran Iron Man campaign, and I gotta say that last mission is tough. I'm going to need a lot of good troopers for that. But then again, with the campaign that I'm going through now, I still have plenty of time to train up my people, get them ready for the final fight, and get them ready as psi operators, elite colonels, elite snipers, whatever. Last week I talked about Men of War Assault Squad 2. I installed it, I was recording a video, and I am just absolutely terrible at the game. Not only that, but for some reason the game is extremely heavy on recording, in the sense that whereas, let's say, a Wargame Red Dragon video of about 40-45 minutes usually goes for 4 gigabytes. A video of XCOM that's, let's say, 45 minutes is up to 8, sometimes 10 gigabytes. And Men of War managed to amass about 10 gigabytes in 10 minutes. Which means that I'm going to start uploading 40 gigabyte videos, and I simply don't have the time for that. It's simply going to be too much of an upload at a game quality or gameplay quality of mine that is so atrocious that I don't want to show you guys that. So, Men of War not going to appear on the channel. I know there are other channels who cover that, and trust me, they're going to have a much better experience to give you. Especially with all the mods that they're trying out. I know for one thing that Boltsauce from Saucy Network has some very interesting mods that he's running on his Man of War, or the Call to Arms. I think it's pretty much a total conversion / makeover of the base version of the game. Anyway, more on that, and a link to that in the channel description, or in the video description down below. Now, what else have I been up to? Well, Deadpool, of course. Deadpool came out February 14th. I was a bit late in seeing that. I only saw that last week. And I gotta say, that is one great movie. Storyline's a little thin. There's not too much going on there. But the amount of sarcasm, the amount of sarcastic remarks, both made by him and others, it is just outstanding. I can really enjoy that. And I cannot recommend that movie enough. Other movies that I've been watching Spotlight, which is the movie about a section of the Boston Globe, so the newspaper from Boston, back in, I believe, 2000 or 2001. And they were digging into the story about the abuse of the Catholic Church. It started out with one priest that they knew about, and it turned into a whole lot more than that. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's a good movie. It's not an action movie, it's not Deadpool stuff, but it's really good inquisitive work. Anyway, as you may have been able to see here in the battle, my battle is not going very well. I had completely underestimated the terrain in this map. And my infantry is rather expensive in this deck. I'm running Sweden in general. Whereas Luzanduis, transported by Hwasung Chongs, are very dangerous and wiping out everything I have here. Luckily, my allies are going to help me out pretty soon. Anyway, so that's Deadpool and Spotlight. I've also been reading. Yep, you know, just base reading. I read for about 30 minutes a day, every day. I get to read whichever I like. So right now I'm reading on naval tactics, all sorts of different strategies that the US Navy has been employing or has been applying. And you can do all sorts of, or you can find all sorts of different Navy guides, army manuals, strategies, wargame stories, and I'm not talking about Wargame Red Dragon, but actual wargame scenarios that have been created by, let's say, the war colleges. Very interesting stuff. I read that on Scribd, which is, or Scribd, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to say that. It's a platform not unlike Netflix, where you can just, instead of watch your content, you just read your content. For, I think, $9 a month, you get access to 700,000 books or something like that. They also have audiobooks if you're not interested in reading, and some of these books, or some of the books have been translated into audiobooks, so you can expect all sorts of different audiobooks as well. So let's say you're in the car a lot and you still want to catch up on military history, have a look there. Again, link in description down below. One of the very interesting things that I also read is social engineering, or no-tech hacking. It's not exactly the same, but let's go with social engineering. Social engineering means that you are trying to exploit humanity or human nature to do your bidding. That sounds very, very dreary, but here's the thing. Let's say that you wanted to get the login information from a competitor, a competing company. And please don't try this at home. This is what I've been reading, and I find it extremely interesting, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. Let's say I have a competitor, and it's a competitor who's making medical products. He has a prototype that he's going to be launching pretty soon, and I want to have eyes on that product. I want to have a look at the blueprints of that prototype in order to see what kind of technological breakthroughs he's had, and what kind of product he's thinking of launching. I just don't have access to his computer system. So, here's what I do. First off, you pick up the phone and you call one of the employees. You can usually find a direct line to one of the employees on your or on their website. Once you have that, you call him and you say, "Hey, look, John, it's Jack from the IT department. I've been hearing rumors that there's a failure of the network lately. Have you been having any problems?" He's probably going to say no, because it's unlikely that you happen to tap into the company at exactly the moment when they've been having network issues. But you can say, "Okay, look, here's what I want you to see, what you to do. If something happens, I'm going to need your network port." Usually in companies you have these, let's say, LAN ports in the wall, or network plugs, which are connected to the main servers. And they usually have a small card which says, for example, 5-20, which means it's outlet 5-20. You say, "Okay, look, Jack," or John was the person I was calling. Anyway, you say, "Look, I want you to give me the number so that if you have a problem, I know immediately what kind of network port is the problem." He says, "Okay." He mentions the network port because, let's face it, you're trying to help him. You're trying to make sure that he does not get disconnected from the network, or that when it happens, he knows what to do. He knows where to reach you. So you give him a phone number. Let's say it's a burner phone. It's a phone that you only use once. So you give him your number. You know now what kind of network port it is, and you say, "Okay, thanks, John. Have a good day. If anything happens, let me know. You know where to reach me." You hang up the phone. Next up, you call the IT department of that company. And you do that, let's say, a few days later. A few days later, you call the IT department and you say, "Hey, look, Mary, I'm here with John, and he has been having some network issues. So here's what I want you to do. Could you, for me, disable port 5-20 so I know whether it's the network connection, the LAN cable, or anything else?" She says, "Sure." Because you know what the employee is, you know what office he's in, you know the number of the network port. So she disables the thing. All of this is happening while you're just casually sitting at your desk in your comfy chair, and you don't have to go out the door. So, what happens? John loses his connection to the network. And he's going, "Oh crap, I cannot work anymore." He's getting errors, he cannot operate his software anymore. Maybe he was in the process of designing something and the system just kicks him out. And that's all because Mary has disabled the network port. So, what happens? John calls you and he goes, "Jack, listen, I got a problem. I cannot access the network anymore. What do I do?" And you say, "Oh, look, that's very annoying. The problem is it's been a company-wide network, or at least multiple offices have been having problems with this issue. I can probably help you out with this in about an hour and a half." And the guy goes, "What? Hour and a half? Look, Jack, I got work to do. I have stuff to finish. I have deadlines. Get me my connection, preferably yesterday, because I cannot work like this." You say, okay, look, I know you're busy. I see what I can do. Maybe half hour. So, simple. You hang up the phone. Half hour later, you call back to Mary. And you say, okay, look, Mary, thanks. I think that the network port is fine. It was an issue with the LAN cable. So I fixed that, and he can probably go back online. Can you reactivate the port? So Mary reactivates the port. You call back to John, and you say, John, hey, it's Jack. The network port is back online. Now, John is very, very happy with your progress, because unlike what you were expecting, which is an outage for an hour and a half, you're back online in half hour. So he is now indebted to you because you fixed his problem. But it's a problem that you created in the first place. So what happens then is that you say, okay, look, John, in order to make sure that this doesn't happen again, I want to run some tests with you to make sure that there are no issues with the connection again. Or that if there are issues, I can help you out quickly. I want you to go to this website, and that's when you give a website where he's going to download some software. It is your website, not your company website, but a website where you can install a mole or remote takeover program. John goes to the website, downloads the software, installs it, and all of a sudden you have a back door into their system. You didn't have to do anything, you just made a few phone calls. There was no Mission Impossible rappelling from the roof, trying to get into the secure room. There was no breaching, there was no truck ramming the door and trying to get a raid on the facility. All you did was exploit human behavior. That is social engineering. It is really, really spooky because it works so damn well. Another very interesting example that I had was about a medical facility. The social engineer, the expert, was talking to a friend, and she said, well, look, it's all nice and good, this social engineering, but it's never going to work at my firm. My colleagues know about this stuff, they're aware, and they won't just give information away. Right. Challenge accepted. So here's what he does. He pretends to be a doctor. In this case, let's say I'm Jack again. You call the reception of the medical facility that you're trying to access. And you say, okay, look, what's your name? Well, let's say it's Joanna. Okay, listen, Joanna, I'm Dr. Jack from I'm thinking of starting a facility right next to yours, or at least in your vicinity. We're not direct competitors, so we don't worry about that. But what I wanted to know is, I saw on your website that you're using this specific invoice software. I have some questions about it. Do you have a moment? And Joanna, who's just a receptionist, is trying to be helpful. She says, yeah, sure. What are your questions? You ask her some stuff about the software. Everything seems very inconspicuous. You're not trying to data mine her on anything. You're not trying to break into the system or anything. She just wants to help out a fellow doctor. What you then do, finally at the conversation, or at the close of the conversation, is, okay, look, Joanna, what I'd love to have is a bit of contact information of the support desk, so that my administrator can contact their tech guy, because I want to know that the support desk is solid. In order to do that, could you give me your contact information, or the information of your contact at support, so that I can reach out to him? And she says, yeah, sure. The contact's name is, let's say, Mike. Mike's very easy to talk to. Here's his number. And you can say that I was calling you earlier, or that you spoke to me, and then he'll know how you got in contact with him. You say, okay, great, thanks. If you have any other questions, can I call you? She says, yeah, sure. And you hang up the phone. So, what have you gained? Well, you've gained seemingly innocent information. You're not getting any kind of logins, you're not getting any kind of data. What you have been getting is data about who their support guy is. So, the support guy and his phone number. It's, again, not very interesting, but you can use this. And that is usually how social engineering works. It works as a two-step process, just like accessing the network, or the number of the network ports in the previous example. So what you do is, let's say about a week or two later, you call again to the reception at a different hour, and you say, "Hey, it's Jack, or it's another employee, from the invoice software company. So not from the competing office, but from the medical or from the invoice software. You say, look, I know that usually Joanna works with Mike. Unfortunately, Mike is working on a different problem because we've had reports that the entire last 3 months of outgoing invoices have been screwed up on our system. We're trying to get a fix on it. Can you help me by checking some of the data? And the guy says, oh, right, well, it's not really my department. I'll see what I can do. And you say, okay, look, here's what I need. I know that it's usually Joanna that solves all of this stuff. I don't want to ruin your weekend, because let's say that you're calling, say, at the end of a Friday, and the person on the other side is going, oh my god, so much for my weekend. I don't want to have to spend the next 48 hours going over all the invoices that we sent out in the last 3 months. So you're offering help. And you say, okay, look, I don't have the information here because Mike is usually the contact that I'm using, or that Joanna is using. And he has all the data, but he's working with a different client. Another client also has the same problem because, again, it's a system-wide problem. So, could you give me the login data? Because I don't have it here, and the sooner you can get it to me, the sooner I can get this fixed for you. And the guy goes, yeah, sure. Let me look it up, because I think she wrote it down here somewhere. What happens next? He gives you the login, he gives you the password, and all of a sudden you have access to the, let's say, remote access to the invoice registering software of that company. You now know who their clients are, what kind of money they're making, what kind of orders they're sending out, all of this stuff just with a few phone calls. That is social engineering. Again, don't try this at home. I haven't exactly tried it. I don't have any intention of using it. But the way of thinking is incredibly interesting to me. So stuff like that is in a book called No Tech Hacking. Again, on Scribed. You can probably find it somewhere else as well. I'll link to that in the video description as well, so you can find out more on that. I really, really recommend the book. You're through in about 2, maybe 3 hours reading. And I gotta say, it makes for great stories at cocktail parties, birthdays, or let's say war room episodes. So, that is social engineering or no-tech hacking. Aside from that, what's coming up this week? Well, as mentioned, the retry of the campaign for Wargame European Escalation. And no, it won't be the entire campaign. It's just going to be the first, or the last mission that I did, which is the evacuation. I want to try and get a lot more units across than I did last time. So if I keep my flanks secure, I should be able to get many, many more forces away from the battle and keep them safe. Because the next mission supposedly is going to be very, very difficult. Other stuff, XCOM, 2 episodes a day. I will be doing another Armored Warfare video because I haven't been doing any of those. And I gotta say, the Armored Warfare press account that I got is pretty much the death of that game for me. As you guys have already pointed out. Because by getting the press account, there's nothing left to achieve for me in the game. I have every vehicle, I have everything unlocked, I can buy anything I like, I don't have to grind anymore, I don't need a premium account, I don't need premium vehicles. I don't know, there's just nothing left to achieve, and that's why I haven't been doing Armored Warfare videos. But don't worry, I'll be sure to do another Armored Warfare video for you guys soon. Probably be another Armored Warfare review, because those seem to be getting the best views and seem to be the most interesting for you guys. Aside from that, a few months ago, I think maybe up to a year ago even, I had a look at Fractured Space, which is a space game, as the title indicates. I suppose remotely you can compare it to League of Legends, just in space with huge battleships instead of heroes. I've been playing it a little bit last weekend, and I gotta say I don't really enjoy it. I had a look at it when it first came out, in order to have a sort of first look at it, first scoop on YouTube. It was decent. The game has improved since then, but it just isn't quite my style, so I'm afraid there won't be any future content on our Fractured Space. What I might be doing is what I definitely will be doing is another run on XCOM, but I first have to finish off this campaign. course, there's going to be more Wargame Red Dragon videos. And I wanted to ask you guys, which kind of videos do you enjoy most? Is it the gameplay videos, and then the gameplay solos, or the gameplays that I'm playing with other people where you can listen to the TeamSpeak conversations? Do you enjoy the deck reviews or the deck discussions? What kind of content do you most enjoy? Let me know in the comments, because I'm really interested in that, so I can make the videos that you want to see. Not the videos that I think are good, but the videos that you want to see. Well, aside from that, I don't really have too much to discuss this week. Just one question, has anyone seen 13 Hours yet? The movie of, I believe, Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, something like that. The trailers look really good. I just haven't been able to see it yet. I'll probably do so this week, but I'm interested to see, seeing, reading, hearing if you guys have seen the movie yet, and if so, what you thought of it. So, if you have, please let me know. Let me know what kind of impressions you got from that movie, whether it's worth seeing, etc. Aside from that, that's it for this week's War Room. If you have any questions for me, let me know, and I'll be sure to answer those next week. Didn't really get to look at those for this episode, so I'm sorry for that. Next week, I'll be answering all of your questions, so whichever question you have, leave it down in the comments. I'll have a look at it, and I'll answer it in next week's War Room. For now, thanks for watching, have a good week, and I'll see you next video.